What insult did you receive that made you rethink an aspect of your life? I'm in my mid-30s. I was out one night and tried hitting on a girl I had been getting to know because we were both regulars at the same bar. She said, "You're like a 25-year-old. Oh. Thanks, I said. That wasn't a compliment. After I sobered up the next day, I realized that I was clinging desperately to that feeling of being younger and avoiding making meaningful growth and changes in my life. I used to think so much of you. Ooh. Still stings a little. You confuse motion with progress. Ouch. And he was right. Do you have any redeeming qualities? It was a joke. But I was just like poop. Do I? Question mark. A friend of a friend guessed that I was 22 years old. I'm 28, and I was stoked thinking I was keeping my youth until the next day when I learned she only thought I was that young because of my job being not that great. Some dude was walking around where I work. A coworker said to me, "I thought that was you." Dude was a big fat bastard. Apparently. So was I. You perceive everything as a threat. 100% true. But I didn't realize I was being so transparent. Your wife must be such a good person. You know, adopting stray dogs, helping out the poor, picking up trash on the side of the road. That explains how she ended up with you. Haha, it's all true. You look kinda like a crackhead. This after months of taking prescription Adderall daily. Barely getting sleep. Barely eating. Smoking weed to help me ignore the side effects. I basically walked outside and broke down crying. Quit the stuff that week. Quit my poopty job a month later. About to graduate college. You're a manipulative little cow. It was true. A friend mine told me in a good way that my personality sucks. You test people around you and throw them away if they don't pass. My therapist, the only thing that truly ever made me think. Edit. Stop asking me if I got a new therapist. I didn't. I did not get over it or change it, but I'm in the progress too. My advice? Accept the cruel reality and try to adapt to it. An old boss, who was a huge asshole, once forwarded me an email from a client complaining about my presenting skills. She said her colleagues took bets on how many times I said I'm on our conference calls. Up until that moment, I sincerely thought I was good at it. I was super embarrassed and ended up making a big effort to improve. I believe I've come a long way since then. My current company now frequently asks me to do industry speaking events. Lived with some cool frat guys in my early college years. Got cool with most of their relatively smaller frat. And started going to parties that they threw. At one I got very intoxicated and subsequently cut off after stumbling through a full-sized window. Breaking a 3-foot kitchen window in the middle of winter. They stopped me from driving home and put me on the couch. When I awoke and was freezing cold because of broken window, I asked one of residents if they were poor and hadn't paid the bill as they were walking out to their car at 9 AM for work. Partially because I'd blacked out and totally forgotten that I had broken the window. Stops. Turns. Eye contact. My nickname. You are the biggest freaking ass I've ever met. At the time, I definitely was. I've done a lot to change since then. But regardless, I'll never forget this statement. I was hounding somebody for $1 I was owed. I received 99 pennies. I think that made me realize I needed to let certain things go. Honestly, you're nothing but an afterthought to the rest of us. I'll never forget it. One of my best friends said that to me. It's been denied by the rest of the group, but I'll never stop wondering if maybe he wasn't just drunk and it's the truth. Someone said if they were flirting with you they would flirt with anyone. That one just hurt Alet. Didn't realize how unattractive of a person I was. when I was in high school and lying to my parents a lot. My mom said, "I don't understand why you are so devious." The word just struck a nerve. It made me reflect on how my default was to hide and keep things secret, and that this wasn't normal. I don't lie about things anymore. But it has been a lifelong struggle to be comfortable being truly known by my loved ones. Not to fear rejection if they see me for who I am. Flaws and all. A girl asked me if I had been in a fire and if that was why my eyebrows were so fricked up. And that's how you give someone a lifelong insecurity. If I was a boy your age, I wouldn't date you. My mother. Before I got sober, I drunk dialed an ex. She said before hanging up the words that made me get clean: "You know you hate your parents for being alcoholics and addicts, but you're exactly freaking like them." Celebrated 11 years. Sober on the 18th of August this last year. As an introvert, I am very proud of my people skills and love making people smile. I had a close friend tell me that I seemed fake with first impressions. Made me feel insecure about how everyone I meet views me from then on. I'm pretty good at guitar, not trying to brag. Stopped playing for a few years because I was too busy getting drunk. Half drunk at a co-worker's house one night and played him a song. Instead of the compliment I was waiting for, he just shook his head and said, "What a waste." In 3rd grade, a friend and I were making fun of a girl behind her back for being fat. We didn't think anyone else could hear us. But some other girl did, and she called me a stupid something in Spanish. Which, despite being young and knowing almost no Spanish, I still understood the stupid part. The insult didn't really hurt. But having someone call me out for being mean made me feel bad for what I said. I tried to stop bullying people after that. But the universe decided I had more karma coming my way. My parents switched me to another school for unrelated reasons, and I spent the next 5 years being bullied at the new school. "You're just a little bitch who likes to annoy people." I still think about that. I was being annoying too, so yeah. "You think you're being nice, but you're actually being a complete asshole." Made me rethink how to end college relationships. The "it's not you, it's me" feels good for no one. I'm glad I heard that actually, since it's such a common thing to think is a nice way to end stuff, but it's still harsh. As a restaurant manager, I had a guest call to complain and remembered helping him a few hours before. I asked who was helping him and he said the chubby white guy. The next day I changed my diet and started working out. 6 months later I was in the best shape of my life. Edit. Oops. Obviously should say best shape of my life. I'll let the typo stand in all its glory. When I was 12 or so, a neighborhood mom said I would probably be pretty when I grew up. Then side commented to another mom that the ugly ones usually do. I was so humiliated. I ran home and cried. I thought I was cute. But never again. A girlfriend broke up with me saying I wasn't doing anything with my life and she could do better. She was right. Motivated me to get off my ass and do something with myself. Whenever I feel like I am not making progress, her words ring in my head. Makes me honestly assess my situation and what I want to do with my life at that time. That was 15 years ago, and I am working on my 2nd degree in an intellectually rewarding career with upward prospects. Thanks, Annalisa. Would you like to get your brows done today? My nail tech. That I danced like I could dance, but I actually can't dance, lol. If the jazzing off isn't having fun, nobody is having fun. This was said by someone I once considered a close friend to my now boyfriend. I was extremely hurt she'd say that at all, let alone to him. But when I got to thinking, I realized that when I allow my depression to limit myself, it affects the people around me. You can be so much like your father, ouch. Is an asshole. I heard it from another room. My friend's girlfriend said it about me when I was 19. She was nice and I really liked her. I 100% believed we were poking good nature fun at each other. Nothing I said to her was something I wouldn't kid around with my sister about. I had to reevaluate and realize some people take things differently and I better figure out whoa pretty quick. You always leave choices to me and never take initiative. I cannot stand your carelessness. I've always thought that leaving all the meaningless choices to her would have been a kind thing to do. I would have been happy to bear the consequences of her choices. You're tickling me. My parents weren't very present in my life and my first love said this to me. I learned that I needed to stop treating her like the family I wanted and treat her as an individual that had her own life. I learned this lesson after we split. Thankfully so, because I met my wife and we've been together for 5 years now. I slept with a coworker once at a former job. The next day, a different coworker said to me, "I heard you're terrible at sex." That was 8 years ago. And I still haven't gotten over it. I haven't had the nerve to even ask someone out in 8 years because of that. When I was 14, my best friend's boyfriend asked me where my ass was. While staring at it, I've never stopped being hyper aware of my flat ass. I got into an argument with my old therapist because she told me that I need to stop blaming the world for my problems and throw out my terrible victim complex. She also told me that expecting the world to accommodate my unrealistic needs and expectations was a waste of time and counterproductive in my journey to a better mental state. How dare she? Exclamation point, I thought. I then got up and walked out after a few rude words. 3 years later and I remembered those words during a particularly low point in my life. And I have never been the same. I'm so much better for it in a way that I cannot describe. Oh. I don't think you'll actually go through with it. You've never actually finished anything in your whole life, my mother. When I was seriously considering enlisting. Guess where I'm at now? Question mark. You've spent your life trying to save everyone else because you're still that boy that nobody came to save. Her ex-girlfriend many years ago said this as to why I can't give up on people even when I should. The reference was because my stepmother nearly killed me at 2 years old by beating and torturing me. Nobody ever came. I like you as a person, but I hate you as a student. My French teacher told me this when I was in high school. During this period where I was really depressed and self-destructive and on the verge of flunking out. Having her be so honest with me and kind of insulting me, but at the same time saying I was a good person, made me want to do better, and eventually I did. When I was younger I got a new job. I had pretty bad acne issues at the time. And the first person I met said, verbatim, "Wow, you're really broken out. How does that make your wife feel? Don't you want her to kiss your face?" And wow. That hurt. So shortly after I sought a remedy through my dermatologist and now I'm mostly good to go. But ouch. You're just so unhappy all the time. Denied it for years, but turns out I have moderate depression and anxiety. Finally 6 years later. Decided to get help. You can be very cruel when you want to be. Yes. He was telling me the truth. My middle school best friend lol would make fun of the way I walk cause she said I had too much bounce in my step, and now I concentrate really hard to seem normal even though it literally was normal to begin with. Once in a while if I feel like everyone is watching me while I'm walking I like forget how and I have to slow down and literally think left, right, left. My dad said that I dressed like a lesbian. Well, cheers to another 18 years in the closet. You can dish it, but you can't take it, said in context of me being able to rip on others, but not allow others to rip on me. Eye-opening at 18. You ramble too much. I know it's not an insult per se, but someone told me this when I was 6. I've always been way too talkative due to ADHD, but since then I've made sure to let other people speak and to double check myself when I'm talking. I'm extremely shy. She said that when she first met me she thought I was arrogant and looking down on everyone. I questioned a couple of other people and turned out my silence was making everyone think that I thought I was better than them. In reality I was so shy that I had to hype myself up to greet the person sitting next to me and then was internally celebrating on the days when I could force myself to say a quick hi. Diagnosis: RBF. First word from my girlfriend's mom. You ever considering braces?
Hi there. Look, if you enjoyed the video, well, why not go ahead and hit that like and subscribe to Reddit Stories. In fact, if you want to see even more responses to this thread, well then, take a look. There's the link in the description below. And remember, show some love to those authors while you're there. And I look forward to seeing you next time.